We are back with another episode of Middle-Aged Mamas. The gang is here. We have Kamilah, Dawn, that writes with mine, and our very special guest, Katherine, is here. We're going to get into some girl chat and then all things Katherine. But today is an absolute full house. Let me tell you, whenever we get to record, I guess the cousins and all the kids, you know, they start to look forward to it because they know that my kids are going to be home. So everyone starts coming over. The game was on today.
Yes.
So we got kids in the backyard. We got kids in the front yard. We have a live studio audience.
Yes.
We're football fans.
Right.
Yes.
It's a fun day.
It's a fun day.
You know.
Brought Landon.
Yeah, we actually thought that's the first thing Dean said when he walked. Was it Dean? Yeah.
I
That-
heard
when
him
he walked
say,
in, he said, "Where's Landon?"
Yeah, next
So
to Brent Chase for sure.
it's
Yeah.
so nice that they are enjoying our ride with us.
Yeah.
Did you
And my
guys?
daughter and your daughter are like BFFs, so
Yeah.
that'd be perfect.
Yeah, yeah. Chase is always over here. So, did you guys watch the game?
We listened to it right over.
No, I'm not into football. I don't really.
Not at all. I just now
I like
started getting
football.
into it because my sons
Boys.
are into it.
Yeah.
But we were rooting for the Chiefs. Who are you rooting for, Kamilah?
Ravens.
And they lost today, so the Chiefs will be heading to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But what do you guys think about the whole Taylor Swift drama?
It kind of gets on my nerves. Like, I think if the media wasn't so pressed about showing her and showing who she's dating, like, who really cares when it's really about the football game?
Right.
I don't think it would be so bad. But I'm so tired of seeing her do random stuff on the camera. Like, she's always trying to dance and they are slightly rhythmless, you know. But,
What's
you know,
wrong with her dancing?
I just feel like
Are other people dancing? Is
Yeah,
she-
their whole
they're
situation,
excited.
their whole little
Oh, so what's the problem?
suite is doing it. It's just off.
Well, she's not football, and I think that's why people are getting turned off. But I don't think it's her fault. I mean, she's there. She's enjoying
I
the
mean, she
game.
has rhythm. Don't get me
Right.
wrong. She has a form of rhythm.
And I'm
I'll say that.
actually a fan of hers. This is another episode, but I just appreciate being able to turn on music where I don't have to worry about the lyrics sounding like it's coming out of a porn video. But
Yeah.
But when I found out how old she was, I realized I don't know if that's really her authentically doing that, or
How
that's
old
just
is
her. She's early 30s, maybe mid 30s. So the handshake she does and all the pity patter and the BFF, like we're like acting like a 12-year-old. I feel like may not be authentic, and it changed my view on her.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, all her songs.
Fact check her age, please. Everyone
Right.
fact check.
But
think
all
her
of
should
her
be a
songs
little
sound the
younger,
same
though,
to
than that.
me.
It is.
And they do sound a little.
Yeah, there's
the
like
same.
3 songs that I think sound different from each other,
They're
but
all
other
the
than
same.
that,
It's a
you
formula.
turn it on and you're like, oh, it's Taylor Swift.
Yep,
Yeah.
it's a formula.
But I agree. They're appropriate.
Yes.
They're appropriate
Yes.
for children.
Yes.
And
But
it's,
then
it's
when
her,
you
it's
say
her,
that
it's
she's
her,
34.
it's her target market.
Yes.
So to speak.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wish we had that. I wish
Mm.
my children could turn on someone that looked like us,
Right.
that did not sound like she was coming off of
Yeah.
Figaro.
Who do they have? Cinderella.
Off-
Wait, who
Look
do they
at anyone that's
have?
not
off the
LA.
corner.
Well, they're into SZA's. Are SZA's lyrics crazy?
They're a little toxic.
I mean,
They're a little
Oh,
toxic.
yeah.
And she needs some love.
That's
Maybe we
true.
should
it's
introduce
I
all
think-
content.
I
Yes,
think
adult.
that they're into the rhythm and the beat of it more so than her
Exactly.
lyrics, right?
Yes. All kids.
Yeah.
No one listens to lyrics.
I
I
don't
feel like
know.
it gets into their brain.
I think they listen to the lyrics too
Okay.
because they're repeating it.
Good
they're
point.
memorizing the song.
So
Like
good.
my
Oh,
son
good
does.
point.
Yeah.
And some of the things that he says that comes out his mouth
Good
when he's
point.
listening to some of these songs, I'm like, hey, no.
Good point.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
This song, Sosa, I don't know who sings it, but it's just like randomness, first of all. It makes no sense. And they just throwing a
Yeah.
bitch here.
Yeah.
You sound like our
Ass.
parents back in the day when we were
Is
listening to
that-
Snoop and
Well,
Dr. Dre.
let me
But it's
say, let me
different.
say this. Let me say this.
Okay.
To me, when we were coming up and we had the Dr. Dre's and the Snoop, we still have them.
Yeah, ain't no
But when those
fun.
songs were out and popular on the radio, to me, the subject matter, it made sense. It was a story, and the story flowed as the
that's
song
true.
went
And we had other
on.
options too.
And we had all kinds of options.
Yes, we had Jodeci, we had all the other types
Yeah.
of songs. Yes.
Yeah, and they were begging for the woman's attention.
Yes.
Yes.
Right
It's
now,
totally changed.
bend that ass over.
Yes.
We're not asking for your.
Like that's how they
attention.
identify
Just,
with love.
You know,
Yes.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. That's really what
and
it is.
then it
what
was
it's about.
all the clean version. Like we didn't have.
And that's
Right.
true. It was a clean
I
version.
wasn't buying their tapes. I was gonna say their CDs. I wasn't buying their tapes.
You're right. We were waiting to push the
Yeah.
button on.
Right. We
the
were
radio.
listening
But
on
you're
the
right,
radio.
Donna. It was a clean version.
It was clean, even though it was dirty.
Mhm.
It was still clean.
But it wasn't as dirty as
It was
I mean,
not.
this is explicit.
It's-
Yes.
This is like I would
Very
know what to do from
explicit.
these songs.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you could learn a little
Yeah.
something. But however, when I listen to these songs now, like if I'm on Sirius Radio, I'm in my car, and the songs come on now, I'm like, oh my goodness.
Because our brain knows it now.
Yes.
Our brain knows
and
it. Yes.
so now when I listen to the uncut version, I feel like a lot of it is unnecessary. Also, like all the profanity and stuff that they throw in,
Yeah.
it's not even necessary. I
Right.
feel like it messes up the song. So some
It's
of
done on
those
purpose.
songs, some of the songs that I enjoyed back in the day, when I hear it now, I'm like, no.
Well, okay, so this is a disclaimer for myself.
Mm-hmm.
But the songs back in the day when they had the cuss words and the explicit lyrics, like Little Kim, for instance.
Yes.
I loved Little Kim.
I do too.
I loved her.
Yeah.
So to me, the subject matter is still kind of.
You were a little older when Little Kim came out, though, right?
We were in college.
Yeah, so that's different.
Right, we were
in college.
already
But I was in high
college.
school when The Chronic came out. And they
Yeah.
were talking about smoking weed
Yes,
and
yes.
pimps and hoes.
But I remember
and all
seeing
that kind of
when my
stuff.
son in 5th grade, right, with all of his friends playing WAP in the background. Because
Oh,
it's on
yeah.
the radio. It was on the radio. In fact,
Megan Thee Stallion.
It was on
those
one of those
lyrics are crazy.
major
I
Hollywood.
like
It was
that
on one of those major award shows where they're actually
Yeah, and they had a
Oh.
video. They
performing it.
danced.
Yeah, they did.
They
Yeah.
didn't have Little Kim performing it
Right.
on a major award show. So I feel like it's done on purpose. We have the Taylor Swifts of the world where hers is a formula because
Right.
of her look. And for
Yeah.
some reason, the way our look is, it's supposed to be this formula. And I wish we could change it. It's
That's interesting.
we're being, it's a puppeteer, I'm assuming. Like we're being contrived to do this. I wish we could just change it.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's interesting.
I agree.
Another topic.
Wow,
I agree.
that's
It's
Some-
definitely a
some of it's
formula,
unnecessary.
Right?
a plan to
Right.
all of it.
Yeah.
Well, Taylor Swift will be at the Super Bowl this year, so get ready.
We'll have to have a show afterwards, talk about our thoughts.
Exactly.
She's gonna pop up there with Usher.
No, she's gonna be in the
No,
stands.
she's gonna
They're
be in
gonna
the
pay to
stands.
her a
He might
ton.
Usher
call
would
her.
never.
No, he is
He
not.
might call her up.
Nah.
To do a
I
little.
like that
Like
show.
you should
A
always
little
say,
shimmy.
nah. So anyway, Dawn, I know you have a shout out to give somebody.
I do. So one of our previous guests, what was it, Fit and Fabulous,
Yes.
Was
was
mine.
mine.
Yeah.
And she talked a lot about how she was divorced and dating, but wanting to be married. And so I'm excited to share that she's engaged.
She was not playing.
She manifested her engagement,
Right.
but it was sweet because it wasn't someone new. It was something that someone she had known from 10 years ago, I think she said, and just a friend that
Turned into
it
a
Turned
man.
morphed
into
into
love.
something else.
Right.
And not only is she engaged, but she moved all the way across the country.
She moved
She's
away?
already gone to the
Yeah,
to the
she's
East
freezing in New
Coast.
York.
Oh, East
Yes.
Coast. Okay,
So
nice.
she's in New York. She's coming back like to get her things and stuff, but she's gone. She found a
What
job.
about
She's
her baby, which is
her
he's not a
baby is a
he's
grown man,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he didn't live with her. Her baby is what 25.
Yeah, living his
He's-
life.
Yes,
Is he-
no, he's
is
not
he
25. He's probably 21, 22. Yeah, but he's in school. He wasn't living with her. I think he was in the Bay, like with his dad.
Oh, that's
and
right.
his
That's
Yeah.
right.
So listeners,
Wow.
take a listen to Fit and Fabulous with Mai.
Yes.
You will hear her story, and then
She
you can
is
catch up that she's
engaged.
married.
Great story.
She put a ring on it.
So how we doing, Kamilah?
Why did I have to circle back to me?
Oh.
Well, I do have an interesting story. So today on my way here, I was going to get gas. And I always have an issue with my bank card, just something is happening with it. It's like fraud on
Yep,
my
something.
account or something. Anyway, so I was trying to get gas. My card was declined again. And so what happened? The card was declined. And so this morning, I didn't realize that I was getting like this random 800 number calling me. and I didn't answer. But then when I realized that my card was declined, I was like, oh my gosh, let me call this number back. And so that's what it was. So I called the number, got my card unblocked. And so the guy over the phone, when they ask you about different charges that you've made on your account, they said, so I just wanted to verify this is you. So they asked me my social security number, asked me my last couple of charges. And so he said, yeah, so did you just make a purchase for eHarmony for $42? And I was like, yes. So that's what's going on with me.
Yay!
I am attempting to branch out and jump in the water of
Good
love,
for
the
you.
pool of love.
Yay.
And that's like the OG original eHarmony.
Yes.
Yes.
it
Have you
is.
done online dating before?
It's been horrible.
Yes,
I
I was gonna
actually
say that'll be
hate
another topic, but I'll let you
online
live your life first, and we'll come back and talk
I
about
actually
it.
hate online dating.
I
And
get
so
it.
I go to a therapist, and I'm kind of like on the tail end of being done with seeing my therapy. I guess because I'm better.
Right.
But so she's helping me navigate the
Good.
dating waters, and so this is one of the things. And I also read a book, How to Find a Husband Over 35.
Okay.
That's not exactly the title, but
Right.
so I read the book, listened to the book,
Right.
and so I'm like on the last chapter. And so one of the things in the book is like they said that you are doing yourself a disservice if you do not try to do online dating.
Got it.
And I hate it. I absolutely hate it.
I feel like eHarmony is the most probably
Right.
I did some
realistic,
research, like
authentic.
what's the like most popular,
Okay.
the ones that give you the best results. And so eHarmony was one of
Good
them.
for you.
And so
Good for
yes,
you.
my
That's
son was in the
acceptable.
car when all this was happening.
Wait, does he even know what that is though, or he sees the commercial?
He was like, oh
is
my
that
God,
the one?
Mom.
This will be. Is that one?
It's so
eHarmony?
crazy, Mom.
That's
I
what
can't
he
believe you're
said.
doing this. Yeah, I was like, so what would you rather me do? Like, just be dateless? He was like, yeah. I was
Of
like, are you
course.
serious? He was like, no.
I feel like the younger
Get a
kids understand online dating more than us. I feel
My son's
like
11.
yeah. Oh well, I'm sorry. But because their world
But he
is
understands
so online and
wanting
digital,
to be
everything.
with someone.
yes,
hooked up,
and
you
even in
know.
fact, meeting someone online, I feel like they're more comfortable with it. Where in our generation, we just didn't do that.
Yeah,
Right.
I'd be lost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it is kind of
Congratulations for you.
like tricky. It's a little scary because it's not a situation where you go out in the street and make eye contact with
Okay.
someone and he's cute, you're cute, come over, talk.
The energy, yep.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and get to talking and exchange numbers. It's just like, I like your picture. I don't really know who you are. I'm just going off of what you wrote on this.
And eHarmony's pretty deep
profile.
though. They go pretty deep, I think.
Wait, so
I
what was your
I don't
experience
know.
like?
I did I don't know, maybe Hinge or some few ones, but I've done it for a little bit and I realized to me it's about energy.
Mhm.
To me it's about
Like energy from that you're getting from what you've seen on the pictures or
No,
what you're
sorry.
reading.
online didn't work for me because I felt like it wasn't a natural way to meet the person. And for me, I guess I feed off of it, or I need to
like
be in
you
that
bump
person.
into somebody.
Yes, I need to be bumping into the
Mhm.
person. And I
Right.
feel like there's an energy, a higher power. I don't know. It did not work for me. However, I probably had preconceived notions about it, right?
Uh-huh.
So
I don't know. I know a lot of people who have met, their significant other who gotten married.
and I guess it
people
depends on what you're
online.
looking for. Like if you have a
Yeah.
checklist of what you're looking for.
And you also, I think, a big part of it is that you have to be open-minded. Like,
Okay.
You definitely have to have.
Do
an
you
open
have a
mind
checklist?
of what I want in a person?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good question.
Well, what's the
And that's
What
another
is
thing
it?
that the therapist asked me. She was like, "Do you
Yeah.
even know what you want?" And I was like, "Yeah, I
Right.
do know what I want."
Well,
But
let's
there's
hear
another,
it.
There's
What
another
are some
part.
of the things?
Hold on. There's another part of this book that I was reading, and they were saying, or
Because
this-
there might be someone out there for you.
Oh, there's
Right.
definitely.
well, it's definitely someone. I just don't know where he
Yes.
is.
He
But
might
hurry
be
up.
Okay, wait,
watching
let's-
you
wait.
on YouTube.
We're going too fast. Okay, so what did the therapist say,
Yes.
and how did you even find this book? Who wrote it, and who told you about
I'm
it?
sorry, I can't remember the author.
Did you just look it up or go to the
No,
library?
no. My therapist,
She
she
told
told
you
me
about
it.
about it.
Oh,
She
okay.
told me about it. And this
You can
this
add, like,
person,
information.
she her book is based on research that she did while she was in marketing school at like some Ivy League school, and so she used all of those tactics to help develop, her strategy for women finding a date or transitioning into marriage or a
Gotcha.
long-term relationship. So that's where it comes from.
Okay.
But what my therapist was saying, I totally forgot my train of thought. She just told me that. The beginning of the book, the author says, you have to be willing to do all of the things that I suggest to you. And one of the things that she said, which I really didn't agree with, was you have to be willing and able to set everything aside and just go full force. If getting a husband is not top priority on your list, this is not going to work for you, or this is not for you. You have to be willing to go full forward and do this and do that. And I was like, I want a husband and I want a long-term relationship, but I also have a child, I also have a job, and I also have other things.
So
I've been married before.
I think it's different when you've never been married and you might want to pursue it that way, but someone who's had the experience and.
But I think the title suggests that you've been married before.
Oh, because it's 35?
Over 35 and over.
Good point.
I mean, everybody hasn't been married by 30,
Especially not
29.
nowadays.
Yeah.
I know.
But it kind of suggests that you've been there,
I wonder why age
done
changes.
that.
We didn't have to think about that when you're younger. So I wonder why age changes, why you have to make that a priority. Or when you were 22,
Well, the
you
window
have to make
closes
Yeah.
as you get older.
And I think
because
when you're
people are
22,
settled down
is-
and married. So that
Got
pool
it. The
is
pool
not
is
as
smaller.
big.
Wow.
The older you
Brilliant.
get,
Yeah.
the smaller the pool is.
Which
makes
is why
total
they
sense.
say, she said
Makes
that
sense.
online dating is almost a must. And if you're
Got
not willing to
it.
put your 100% full body into this water of dating, then are you really ready to do it? And like I said, I have all these different other priorities and things that I like to do, things that I need to do. I'm not gonna hang all of that stuff up just because I want to go over here and sit here and date and try to do all these dating strategies and throw everything else in the
You have to
wind.
find a balance.
I have to find a balance,
Good for you.
So yes, that's where
Well,
I
keep
am.
us posted.
Yeah.
Now, did the bank approve the eHarmony?
They approved the eHarmony.
I would have thought it was a sign. I would have thought it was a sign. I
You
would
guys
have
can
been like, oh,
continue
right.
to
Right. I want
My
to hear
profile.
I want to hear some of the things on the list, because I wonder at this stage. Yes, I'm certainly.
Mhm.
Don't think I forgot.
Yep.
Because
This is all of Kamilah this
I
year.
think sometimes what happens, I wonder if this is the case, that we have at this stage in our life maybe unrealistic expectations, and that and this is not about lowering your standards or anything like that, but when I was younger, I could say I want this, and this, and like you said, when you're younger, there are all of these potential mates who will have those things outside of physical, outside of I want them to be tall, I want them to be this and that, but I wonder at this point, can you say, oh, I don't want him to have children, or I want him to have his own home, because you are looking for someone who's older, and so some of the things I think that maybe would be on a younger person's list. I wonder what a middle-aged mama list
Well,
looks
you
like.
I will say
Yeah,
this before
let's
you
hear
answer.
Yeah.
You can no longer go off potential, and that's the difference.
Oh, yeah, you can't
you're
jump
younger,
into the
you-
pool
Not at this age.
Man.
expecting to
When
watch
you're
it.
younger, there was so much
Amen.
potential.
What is
Yes.
That's what happened. So
They
now
need
it
to
is
be
Potential to be
Yes,
realized.
there should be potential. Yeah. So anyway,
Should
I'm
be realized.
excited to hear this one.
be potential. So absolutely.
That's a good way to say it.
Yeah, that's
No
what we want
pressure.
to know. No
No,
pressure.
none.
Well, what are some
No
of the
pressure.
things? Because we might
So-
know somebody, and we can just move this along a little bit.
Ah, right?
We can get your
You guys
money
can
back.
morph this into a.
Right.
Well, of course there needs to be a mutual attraction, but
What's your type?
Yeah, what
a
is your type?
loving man
See, here we go.
Okay.
that cares
For real?
That's good.
for
No,
me. I mean, it's gotta be fine to me, of
Okay,
course.
okay, well, thank
But
you.
you,
I mean,
okay,
but
what's your physical type?
I prefer for them to be tall. I would like for them to be tall. I don't like anybody. I don't
What's
want
tall to
anybody my
you?
height. At least 6 feet.
Okay, that's
Okay.
tall.
That's slightly short, but
I get
you
it.
know,
is.
most of the men that I have dated in the past, work done or not, they've all been like
Over 6 feet.
well.
Okay.
over 6 feet.
All right.
And so that's my type.
Mm-hmm.
But I am definitely attracted to very intelligent men, smart men. Again, I just want somebody to be open. I like people to have take an interest in the things that I like. I'm looking to take an interest in, what another person likes. I'm just open.
What are some things that you like?
I know you haven't said one thing.
No, you
This
haven't.
has been the biggest.
is not helping me.
I like to travel.
Okay.
When I
Okay.
have the opportunity.
Mhm.
I like to go hiking. I like
Okay,
to work out. I
okay.
really do like to work out, although I have not been to the gym in a little bit. But I do. I love working out. I
Like
love going to
someone
the gym.
active.
I like somebody very, very well active. I don't want to say very active. Like let's get up and do
Right.
this every 5 minutes.
Right.
But I like to take drives.
You like
I like
museums?
to do. I love to go to museums. I like to eat.
I could give the
I
list.
love to
Okay.
cook.
You like concerts,
I love
movies.
concerts. I like music. I like all of that
Okay,
stuff. I
okay.
like to go. But I also don't mind like sitting at home and like vegetating. Like
Does your
just chilling
partner
out.
have to have all that, or can you get fulfilled by going to the movies with maybe sister-in-law or someone, and then he doesn't have to do all those things?
No,
or
he
is that for him?
doesn't. He doesn't.
Okay.
I want somebody to just be yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Love that.
I don't
yeah.
want you to try to like impress me to the point where
Got it.
It's fake.
Yeah, I just want somebody to be
You listen
to be
easy.
themselves. I don't think I'm very difficult.
No.
I don't think that I am.
You're not. You're lovely.
But I think I'm easygoing. I think I'm funny. I like funny guys. I think I'm easygoing. But other people might say I give people a hard time. So
All
I
right.
don't know.
Okay, so to be
You
continued.
heard it here.
Looking for love.
I know. Thank you for being so vulnerable today, Kamilah.
It's my turn.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have Katherine here who has developed a wonderful platform called Think On It. I noticed, we've known each other because our
Yes.
daughters are friends, but in getting to know you, you just have such a great mindset for so many things.
Thank you.
So how did this all come about? Fill us in.
I think it all came about. Let me think authentically where it came about. I went through a divorce,
Okay.
and I had to denounce some ideas out there in the world where I felt like I could still be a good person and maybe not want to keep certain people around me or not want to be friends with my ex. I feel like we're in this society preaches, if you want to be a good person, you guys should all be traveling together and include this person in your life.
It's not
in your world.
realistic
This wasn't
for
realistic
everyone,
me.
at least.
So I had to kind of go back to the lab, and I'm like, I know I'm a good person. But I don't really subscribe to the norms of society. And I know I'm attractive, but I don't want to like Meg the Stallion, right? I know that I'm smart, and I know I'm a female, so I had to really internalize and know and awaken, like, you know what? I'm a good person. And I may not go to church 50 times a week, or I may not do these things, but I'm a good person for myself. So I think it kind of came out of almost like a dark night of the soul, where I had to really internalize.
Break yourself down.
I had to break myself down, and that wasn't natural for me. Like I'm smart, I'm good, but I had to really kind of change my identity. And so it morphed into something beautiful. And I actually I was going to get my master's in therapy, marriage and family therapy, ironically, but that was, what it's called. And I realized, in therapy, I have to listen to a person and be quiet. I have to listen and let them form their own opinions in life.
Right.
That's not necessarily my strong point. I have a voice. I have an opinion. Either you like it or you don't. So that's what made me kind of naturally go into coaching, where I felt like people that were me, middle-aged, divorced, single mother. I know people don't like to say you're a single mother if the father's in your life, but during my time in my household, it's all me. I'm a single mother.
It's so good to
Thank you.
point that out.
Thank you. Because people say, you're not a single mother, but I am. 50% of the time, it's all me. I have 3 children. So anyway, I felt like people like me deserved a voice, and I didn't know how to navigate these waters. I wish people talked about it more. But guess what? I
Talk
don't
about
know
life in motherhood after divorce.
Motherhood after divorce, being middle-aged, single mother, knowing you're a good person, not subscribing to what you're supposed to do, right? No one really talks about it. Everyone's either married or not, right? So I felt like who better than to have a voice for this small population than me. So that's my long-winded way. I've never really asked myself why it came about. So great question, thank you. I'll condense it next time.
We want to hear the whole thing.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Because one of the ones that really stuck out to me was when you were saying, instead of rooting for or getting caught up in other people's gossip and constantly talking about the gossip of what everyone's talking about, start talking about yourself and promoting yourself and speaking life into the things that you want. So how did you come up with that one?
I think I must have read something. I'm always reading something, listening to something, but it was, but basically it was like, why not you? Like if you have a desire for something, who better to make it come to fruition than you?
Right.
So I think I had to realize, right, we're always so busy talking about other people, and I do it, of course. Right? But let's talk about ourselves, or if we don't like the music that's out there, let's talk about the music we do like and go support the underground people that we do like and talk about them and put them out there into the world. So I think it came about by realizing my voice matters, my consciousness matters, and I want to share my thoughts to the world. It's not only me collecting thoughts from the world. I want to give things too. So now I really do, if there's if I like something and someone makes it, I want to give that to the world, right? I don't want to always support things, especially when you start going into deep about what these corporations do and what they stand for. It's, all this gossip. If it's not my energy, why do I want to support it?
Right.
So that's how it developed. Thanks for recommending. So if anyone has anything that they want, I already know what you do on the side. So anyway, yes. So I do want to always support that.
Now, how does this translate to your children? I mean, are you always walking around like positive,
Super positive
pause?
all the time.
How do you
No.
handle, training their
That's good.
thinking? Because a lot of times our kids are growing up in this environment and they experience a lot of disappointments. How are you helping them to change their mindset to think differently?
Great question. Number one, let me take accountability for something. When I was going through a dark time in my life, I openly talk about things. Talking about things to children could be considered trauma dumping. Right? And just like I didn't decide to have my life navigate like this, these poor babies didn't decide to have their life navigate like this.
What is trauma dumping?
Trauma dumping is when you're just talking about your issues and you're dumping it on someone.
Oh, okay.
That they didn't ask you like, how was your day? And you vomit a whole this happened, that happened.
And now that's on their shoulders, right? So you have that coworker and everything. So right?
The coworker.
Right.
It's true. I'm probably that coworker.
So I think so to take accountability, I'm sure I've given them too much. I've talked about too much. I've navigated my life with them. That's probably too much. And now I think the beauty is, I think they see my transition. I think they've seen me authentically become into who I am and authentically my struggles. Like I didn't hide anything from them. Even I don't have a healthy relationship with alcohol. Not a big deal. It is what it is. I didn't start drinking until I was 21. Then when I would get depressed, I would lean into alcohol. There was a brain chemistry for it, whatever it is, right? I stopped drinking for 2 years. I negotiated with myself. I can drink again. I can't do it. They saw the whole struggle, which means if it is something scientific about this and it's genetic, if they ever go through it, they can lean into me. However, when you're going through that struggle, it wasn't the best thing. But if I'm looking for the beauty of the situation, they have seen their mother fully develop, and I keep developed. So I hope that they remember me as being an authentic person who just kind of really spoke her truth. So I think that it's resonating with them, but who knows? We'll see. They might be in therapy. At least I know what they're going to therapy for 2 years, right?
And it's interesting because you talked about the marriage. I have my master's degree in marriage family therapy, and so the piece about the children and the family, it's different when you're dealing with something that's personal.
Okay.
You can't. I feel like I can't put on my therapist hat when I'm dealing with my children, when I'm dealing with My husband, it's different, especially when emotions are involved, or if they are dealing with something very challenging. And I've talked on the podcast about struggles my daughter's had with her mental health, and issues that I've had with mine, with perimenopause and all that. And I feel like when you're dealing with your children, when you're dealing with your family, they don't see you as your profession.
Mm-hmm.
They see you as mom, and you don't know anything.
Right.
You know, and so that's the piece
Right.
that when my children are dealing with things that are difficult, it's easier for me to rely on a professional that's outside the house.
Okay.
So my children have been in therapy, and I've been in therapy with them. And
Right. Awesome.
because it's different when it's your profession, as opposed to you being mom trying to put on that professional hat. It's very different, especially when emotions are involved.
Right.
You know, I like to keep it separate.
As separate as you can.
Yeah.
I like to keep it separate. Yeah.
Yeah, I
for
just
sure.
feel like we walk a fine line with how much we share with our children. My family, the way I grew up, they didn't tell us anything, like nothing.
Right.
And I
right.
think part of that was to protect us and let us grow up and be kids and not have to worry about anything. My parents now have started to share things with me, and it just makes me value them so much more to know, oh dang, you were going through that during this. We had no idea. And that's kind of how we model our life. We do share things, but I don't want to put things on their shoulders that they don't need to bear, and I want them to grow up as kids and to be able to work at their best because they haven't had to deal with a bunch of nonsense.
Right.
And I was thinking the other day, I have 4 kids, and they're all different. I have one that is a complete scholar, a couple that are great students as well. Everybody are good students, but this in particular kid has soared to another level. And I was thinking, I was like, it's not because anything that we have done, but they've all been able to soar because they're not weighed down by so much nonsense. And I'm not saying that their lives are perfect by any means, but they don't have so much weight, and they're able to kind of take off and soar, and that's because of what my parents taught me.
I have actually an opposite story. My son is an only child, and I'm also divorced. Obviously, I'm looking for somebody to eHarmony. But you know, going through my divorce, my son was young, but a lot of things that happened with me and his father played out in front of him, sadly.
Right.
And I know that it affected him, and I know that I have prayed several nights, several prayers that, Lord, please don't let this stuff that we went through, the fights, the arguing, the calling the police on me, soak into my son, into his spirit, and it stays with him, you know. He did go to therapy, my son. Both of us actually were in therapy together. But I think he's better. I think he's, you know, growing. I don't want to say growing out of it, because I do believe that some of it probably he'll remember that. But I think I've talked through a lot of things with him, so that he understands like why things happen, how people can go, you know, awry or haywire, and things can get out of control, and to turn that into a positive. Make sure that you don't go down this road and do A, B, and C. If you feel that you're upset with a woman or vice versa, you can walk away. You don't have to participate in any arguing. You don't have to participate in any fighting. You never hit a woman. If somebody hits you, call the police, or you know, just leave the situation. But my prayer for him is that continually that he never remembers any of that stuff that we went through, because it was a tumultuous time. Unfortunately, his father is no longer here with us, but even though that was a negative time, I put a great spin on who his dad was.
Yes, and
I always say that his dad, he was a great dad, he was a great provider, he was a great this, he was a fun, loving guy. He loved you, he loved us, you know. I just tried to like turn it around so that his image, which he's always loved his dad. It's a different. It's like it's a positive spin, a positive image that he has of his dad.
And I like to think there's beauty in the struggle.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So sometimes if I'm looking back in my journey, I'm grateful for the bad things or the things that I deemed as bad or the learning lessons and the learning tools. And so, even in my childhood, things that maybe I did not appreciate or like, it shaped me to who I am, and I'm beautiful. So I would love for you to give yourself permission to know that anything he's gone through is shaping him into be this beautiful human being, and he has you to guide it.
Yes,
I know that mom guilt is.
And
so.
another thing, they say time heals all wounds. I don't believe that. But the time that you have put into Dean since all that happened, you gotta look at that and let some of that other stuff go.
Yeah.
Because it's done, but you've spent so many years working tirelessly to make sure that he has a good life.
Yeah.
That speaks way more
It
volume than that small amount of time that you were going through that. And how could you have gone through it any differently? It was tough.
Yeah, it was
So
difficult.
you got to look at the other side that you've put into him, because you've done a beautiful, beautiful job.
Yeah, I hope that when he gets of age to appreciate it,
He will.
he really will.
He will remember that.
He will.
Because I don't think it's affected him like in school or anything like that. Because he's totally smart. He's capable.
Yeah.
He's a typical kid. Doesn't like to go
It's
to
just
school,
that
doesn't like to work,
wiring
but
in the beginning that we talked about a long time ago. But you've done so much work to undo that. You have to let that stuff go.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't really remember some of the stuff that happened,
I don't know.
towards the end, but not like the beginning when you guys were actually together.
Yeah.
So that wiring when he was a baby and all that stuff, you've worked to undo
try
that
to
stuff.
Yeah.
So.
We have a time
Rewire.
machine, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know how that mom guilt is. So
Yes.
Real.
Yeah, but I like what you said about the struggle, and it reminded me again about my kids, because they go through struggles, at school, friendships, like all kind of drama, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, this is shaping them.
Right.
But at home, I still need to give them a soft place to be, and a cushy
safe place
to be, and let the world, work that suffering and craziness out, because they, as teenagers, that's all they go through day to day.
Yeah, that's beautiful. You can provide that for them. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. Because it is important. I know my situation is probably different as well, and I think about my childhood that I've talked about that was very toxic and nuts, and probably what steered me in my path, and the choices that I made in my relationship, the way that I parent, the choice that I made in my career. All of those things were definitely based on the way that I was raised. The struggle certainly made me a stronger person, but it also hurt me a lot, and so those are the things that I want to protect my children from as much as I can. But I still do things. I still say things that are hurtful to my children, and so I have to take accountability for that. But I know that I'm doing the best that I can. I know I chose a partner who was raised completely different than I was, because I wanted to have a different experience, and we have. But it's still not perfect, and my kids still struggle, and we still struggle. And even though they're not seeing a lot of toxicity between their dad and I, when there is something going on, I want them to see. I remember once we were having an argument, and we don't argue often just because we're both very sensitive and we don't want to hurt each other's feelings.
Sweet.
I think we're equally sensitive and protective of each other, even just between the two of us. But once we were having an argument, and he was like, "Oh, you're getting a little loud. Let's take this room." I was like, "No, the kids did you." I feel like I don't want to display either that this is perfect.
Yeah.
And kids need to see that you can have an argument
Right.
with somebody
And
that
make
you
up.
love
Mhm.
and make up
And
Yep.
resolve it.
and be just fine.
Exactly.
And so they need to understand that. And I remember once they were really little and we had a big argument. And the next day, the kids were asking if we were going to get a divorce.
They were like, we had never
They
seen
were
that
like,
before.
what?
Because they
Going
never
on?
saw it.
Because no,
Maybe.
because we had never, you
Yeah.
know. And so I said, you better go have a conversation.
They're like, what's happening? They're arguing.
But you know that it's important for them to see
Yeah.
that, because I would certainly see my parents arguing, breaking up, getting back together, having another baby, and I wasn't looking at that like, okay, so they're able to fight and resolve their issues and get back together. I was looking like, what is, and I remember even saying to her,
What are y'all doing?
yeah, my mom would tell me, I was a little girl, and I was like, when are you gonna leave him, like, for real? You know, like, this is not cool, you know, and yeah, and so they would break up, get back together, and have another baby. Like, there are 5 of us, and I was like, what on earth? And so there was something there. There was certainly some love there, but as far as the maturity and role models and examples and support and all of the things that they needed, they just didn't have it. And I honestly truly believe that some people are just not meant to be together.
Of course.
You know, you're just not meant to be together. And I feel like so often people say we're staying together for the kids, but the kids are seeing all that nonsense.
Yeah.
And I will say my siblings have all been in relationships either now or in the past that are very similar to our parents.
Yeah,
You
you
know,
model it.
very similar, even though it didn't feel good to them. That was what they knew.
Yeah.
And
Comfort.
that, you know,
Identify.
that's what they knew. And so even when I say I make mistakes and I do things, sometimes my go-to is what I knew, what was modeled for me. But fortunately, I have someone there who's like,
Yeah,
It's
to
enough.
balance
I'm
it out.
gonna,
Yeah.
I'm gonna take over from here. Like, I'll get
Yeah.
a text message and I'll be like, you're included on this text message too. You're up. Like, tag.
Yeah,
It's your
you're it.
turn.
Yeah.
And so to be able to have a partner where when we know we are not right, that person is able to step up, and I'm able to do the same for him. You know, but it is, you know, you talk about mom guilt. It is real.
Yeah.
It
Especially
is
when you don't have the
so real.
luxury of you're navigating this pain by yourself,
Yeah.
raising kids by yourself,
Absolutely.
being an authentic human being. You don't have anyone else to bounce this off of. So especially to my single mothers,
Oh yeah.
we really need to. We don't have a time machine. We need
Right.
to take accountability and then move forward.
Move forward
Yeah.
and heal and grow.
I didn't grow up like that at all. My parents, I never saw my parents argue. I never heard them argue. I don't know if that was a disservice for me because me growing up and thinking that, you know, it's all roses
That
and we
they
can
were
all
perfect.
work it out. Not so much that they were perfect because, of course, as I got older, you know, I knew that, of course, it was, you know, it couldn't have been
Nothing's
like a bed of
perfect.
roses like
Nothing's
that.
perfect.
But
Yeah.
I just, it was just a very harmonious kind of like
Nice.
household
That's so sweet.
for us. I never saw them argue. Now I've seen my dad mad. I don't know why he was mad.
He was probably mad at one of y'all.
It was us. It was the
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
them on there mad and making them upset. But I
that's what
never.
it
It was
usually when my
never.
husband's mad, he mad at one of them kids.
Yeah, it was
is
never
not
anything
me.
with them. It was never anything with them. And you know, when I grew up and I was just like, you know,
sweet.
wow, it was just a totally different
Aw.
household that we grew up in. I'm thankful for it, but wow, the
What
stark
does your mom
difference.
say now? Have you been able to have conversations with her? Does she say we just kept it from you?
Yeah, then she said we just never
We just
never
kept it-
argued in
oh, we
front
just-
of you guys.
okay,
But
okay.
we didn't even hear them. At least I never did. Heard them in the next room arguing. Like I never
Yeah.
can remember a time, honestly,
Yeah.
where I ever heard them arguing or raising their voice at one another. Because let me tell you, my dad had a sailor mouth, and his looks would cut you.
Yeah.
But I never,
Right.
I never experienced my dad reacting like that with my mom, or vice versa.
That's so sweet.
So,
It's
Yeah.
funny because I'm from a similar household. My parents believed in true love. You know, they broke up, got back together. Everything was harmonious. So when I was choosing a partner, I just thought life
This is
just
how it's gonna be.
yeah, life
Oh,
just
so that's similar.
life just gives you the person, and you're at that age, and you guys
Yeah.
hang out together, and now
And
you
you
guys
can
are
work
gonna
it
get
out.
married and
Yeah.
procreate, and life is just gonna magically happen. I didn't actively choose someone for a specific reason, and it's interesting you did that. So that is
Oh,
something
yeah.
maybe as we're talking to younger girls
Oh yeah.
to make sure they know sometimes life doesn't magically happen the way a sweet parenthood does.
It kind of magically happened
Right. It
because
does
I didn't know
sometimes.
my husband at all. So I
Yeah.
didn't. Well, I knew I
They
wanted
dated
somebody.
a short time.
Yeah, we dated a short time, but looking back now that we've been together 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
that short window of time, I didn't know anything. So, my one criteria was that he loved God, and he did, and it kind of just worked out. We have argued in front of the kids, and we've removed ourselves from the room, and then we come back down and act like everything's fine. Or sometimes we'll tell them like, "Daddy's getting on my nerves right now," you know.
Yeah.
They're of
Probably-
age too. You're
Yeah.
age older
Age
where
appropriate.
they're
Yeah,
they're
but-
age appropriate. Yes.
Like my parents, when they went through their divorce, they didn't argue a ton either. My mom just all of a sudden was sleeping in another room.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, okay, so we do it.
And
Right.
that's how some people process.
Right.
Some people process
Yeah.
things out loud.
Right.
Some people don't. So maybe
Right.
mom is just more of a private person.
Yeah, but
that
I
has-
never saw them
process your
very
thoughts.
lovey-dovey either. They were
Right.
just kind of
yeah,
cohabitating.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's a
And then-
personality type. That makes sense.
Right.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden it was done. But such is life.
So interesting how all that stuff forms you into who you
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
interesting.
definitely.
But I also think that if you can be cordial and be kind in front of the kids, then it is okay to stay together for the kids and let them get to at least 18 and out on their own. If you can
If
actually
you can be kind.
be kind and get along,
Agreed.
there are benefits
I
to
agree.
that. And then go out and live your life.
It takes two to have that commitment.
Oh,
though.
absolutely.
It
And
can't
it's
be one
not
person
for
winning it.
everyone.
Right.
But
Yes,
when people
right.
say stay together for the kids, there should be a condition. If
Yeah.
you can be kind
And
and,
if they
nice.
both agree to it, I
Yeah,
agree.
you can be kind and nice and you know.
I have a lot of people in my life that have decided to do that, both decided to do that, and I think for the children's sake, it worked out perfectly.
Yeah.
So I agree with you on that one. You can't do it yourself, though.
I just have a question. I want to pivot to your Instagram page. Is there a quote on your Instagram page that you put up that you like live by?
Lately, it changes, but lately, it's an affirmation.
Okay.
And it's basically, so I live by trying to be an authentic human being. That's what I'm trying to get by. But lately, it's basically, it says, out of all is well, I am safe. And out of this experience, only positive things are going to happen for my higher good. And how I live by that is, there's so much, when you're going through something dark and sad, sometimes you have to remind yourself, all is well, I'm safe, and something's good's gonna come out of it. Like, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. You know, I've had, issues with people in my life that have, decided certain things, and I always say, I don't care what we're going through, something good is going to come out of this experience. We may end up being better friends, or I may end up being a better mom or a better coworker, but out of this experience, something good is going to happen. And I think there has to be in life, there can't just be everything's wonderful and everything's good and just be happy, or everything's sad and you're doomed and everything's gonna fail. Like, we have to take the good with the bad, and that's what I'm learning, that these bad things are going to form into something good, and that's gonna make this journey beautiful. So I know that quote, there's beauty in the struggle, is so like, but there really is beauty in the struggle.
That's true. And I like that better than this happened for a reason. Like, I hate that one. Because
Got it.
sometimes shit just happens.
Right.
And
It's
it's
awful.
for a reason.
Right.
It's awful.
It just happens.
But I like your spin on it, that something still can come out so
Yes.
beautiful
Yes.
from it.
Even if it's just making my higher good stronger. Like you said, your childhood makes you stronger. It was hurtful.
Yeah.
So even if that good is that it makes me a stronger human being, or I have a voice now, and if someone else is going through that, I can talk to them about it. There are things in my life that no one prepared me for.
Yeah.
Even when you get older, you have to prepare to not be the hottest person in the room. Like these
Yeah.
minor things.
That's what this podcast is for.
Right,
Yeah.
And there's something called crystallized intelligence, where when you get older, your brain isn't as sharp, right? It takes longer to get to there, but once you get to your library, there's wisdom there. It's a whole different type of intelligence.
Absolutely.
So it's not so much about being the hottest in the room, but being the wisest.
You're wise.
in the
Yeah.
room.
Or going into a room where you are hot. You can do that too. Let's not be around 20-year-olds in the room. Let's be around 50-year-olds, but
Just up the age a little bit.
I'm all for that one. But
Yeah.
in terms of even working, you may not be the sharpest person in terms of, I remember that. But once I finally slowly get to my little Rolodex,
Yes.
I have so much wisdom to share.
That's so good.
Absolutely.
So it's okay that we forget stuff.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, slow.
Because we're
but
going
once
to
we
get
here.
to the wisdom.
Yes. And so I learned to write
Because
everything
I
down.
did just tell my kids earlier to go put the pizza in the dishwasher.
Oh my God, I do that all the time. I was like, you know what I meant.
They're like,
But we
"Wow."
also have to remember that life is seasonal. You know, we go through all kinds of seasons. You know, in our life, good times, bad
Beautiful.
times. It's all seasonal. you
That's
know.
beautiful to
And
me.
it's always gonna come. Well, not always, but you know, we go through dark times like the winter and great summertime. You know, we all have different seasons in our life.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
How do you guys navigate seasons? Let me ask, if you go through a dark season, do you have to be around people, or do you have to kind of retract? Like, what is your way to deal with dark seasons? Especially being married and then as a single person.
You wanna go first?
I need my people. I'm a needy person. So yes, I call my husband, call my friends, I call my sisters.
Nice.
I bring everybody. I call my daddy. Hi, daddy. I
So
bring
you're
them
open,
all
you talk
in.
out loud about
Yes.
it. It's beautiful.
Yes, I need people around me to have different perspectives. I usually can come up with an answer on my own, but I definitely need a lot of people's
It's
input.
beautiful.
I think for me, it depends on what it is.
Okay.
It depends on how dark it is.
Okay.
And it depends on whose story it is.
Mm.
You know, because if I'm sad about something that involves my children, I may or may not share that with everybody.
That's a very
Yeah.
good point.
Yes,
You
you
know?
can't
Oh.
either.
Yeah, I may not, and so in that sense,
Brilliantly said.
I'm just,
Right.
you know, it's just me and my husband, and sometimes I don't even feel comfortable sharing it with my parents
Right.
because I think sometimes it's kind of like, you know, I feel like if I'm sharing it with my parents, especially if I preface it with, I don't know where this came from.
Right.
It's like, oh, that's you.
Right.
This like it's a payback type of deal. So certain things I won't share. I will share most things with my husband, but because he had a very different experience than I did, he's not able to understand, but he's able to comfort me.
Okay, that
You
makes
know,
sense. Yeah.
And so it just depends. But if it's something that is deep but light, I'm all for sharing it with. I'm all for my village.
Right.
You know, very much
great.
so.
Brilliant.
Yeah, very much so. If it's something that, if it's my story, especially if it's my husband. My husband was sick a couple years ago, like really sick. He was losing his vision in his left eye. The doctor thought he had a brain tumor or MS. Like, it was
Scary.
so scary. And I was not allowed to say anything because my husband is very private.
Right.
And he didn't want me to say anything. He didn't even tell his parents right away because he didn't want them to worry. And it was something I told some people at my work, because I broke down at work and I had to take off work to take him for MRI and all these other tests. But it was a very, very scary time. And during those times, I do need my people. I reached out to my godmother. I reached out to my prayer warriors, you know, my friends and my family that I know are going to pray for me and not post it on social media.
Right.
You
Could you
know,
imagine?
you know what I mean? No, like sometimes I
It's
remember
crazy.
something that happened before, and a family member posted like, "Pray for my."
Oh,
like,
right.
no,
Right.
take
Yeah.
that down.
Right.
I'm not doing that. And so it just depends.
Mhm.
It just depends on what it is. But for the most part, I am a talker. When you said the same thing about therapy, I never got my therapist license because I think too, I was actually going through an internship and I had a client who was talking to someone else at the center and said, she talked more than me.
That's funny.
And so, you know, you gotta know. You gotta know who you are.
Yeah, you know your
And
strengths.
so,
Yeah.
That's funny.
so yeah, so I for the most part a talker, but depending on what it is,
Right.
I have to
That's a good point.
kind of pick and choose, you know.
Yeah. I'm kind of like Don. It kind of depends on
Okay.
what the situation is,
Mhm.
but like if it's like something like really severe, like I'll like go into a hibernation. I'll just like, want to sleep,
Mhm.
and then like maybe wake up and things may be a little bit more clear,
Okay.
or I'll have some ideas. But yeah, that's my go-to. Sleep first, and then
Smart. Well, that's healthy.
wake
That's
up and
interesting.
It's healthy.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
that.
It's healthy.
Yeah.
because I feel like maybe I have a clear mind. I'll have some ideas,
It's
or
healthy.
I'll know who to call to cry to. So
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it just depends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
I was asleep yesterday and it was early. And it was just because I was home alone and my husband came home. It was probably maybe 6 o'clock. And he said, it's too early. You in here in the dark, the TV's on.
You would be in the dark.
That's
Either the
best.
dark or the
In
bath.
the dark.
You can find Dawn
Right.
in the dark or
Right.
the bath.
I will. I
She
will
takes
be,
baths for like hours.
I will be in the tub.
Be careful. That's
I know.
not safe.
I don't fall
It's
asleep.
cool water. It's
Oh,
cool
you
I
don't
water.
fall asleep.
Oh
Okay.
no, I'm totally alert.
Okay.
I'm like,
reads.
I'm listening to Audible.
Oh, that's good.
I got my
It's just
candle.
funny.
It's
Yeah,
like a
she
full
takes
on.
baths
Yeah.
like
I'm
that.
thinking it's not a Whitney Houston
Oh,
moment, right?
Oh
no.
my God.
That's not funny.
Absolutely not.
That's not funny at all. Okay.
It's not, but no.
No, it's not.
Okay.
You're laughing at that.
Yeah.
I did have something similar, but I'll share it off
Okay.
story.
Oh my God.
I'm like, but when he came home yesterday, he was like, no, you gotta get up. He's like flipping on the light, and I said something. I said, the dark just came upon me.
You was
And
tired in your middle
in.
age.
You gave in.
You was
Yeah.
I
tired in your
just gave
middle
in.
age.
The dark just came upon me because I said when I first got in the bed, it was still light
It was
out.
still light. Yes.
And, you know,
And it just came
yeah,
upon
the
you.
blinds were open.
Yeah.
Like I needed
And
to
we
look
are
at
still
the
in daylight savings
Yeah, the
time.
blinds, like literally, the blinds were open.
That is the worst sometimes. The blinds are open, you fall asleep, it's dark.
And I wasn't even asleep. I was probably scrolling through my phone,
Yeah.
and that's why the TV wasn't
And you ended up
on.
like this.
And-
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
And I
That's
closed
it.
my door because I didn't want the cats to come
Yep.
in. The cats were gonna be
Cats?
yeah.
Two? I thought you
I
had
have one and Morgan has
Oh,
one.
okay, okay.
But because I was
Aren't
the
they
only
cousins?
one, because I was the only one there, then the other cat will come. Usually the other cat's trying to hide from my cat because my cat's like, "Brr."
Your cat is always around.
My cat, right?
We were
always-
zooming the other day on a meeting and our
He's
cat
all in the
Oh, yeah.
camera.
walking across
There's
the,
nothing
in the
you can do
camera.
with a
Being
cat.
ornery.
Yeah.
I see why people don't like. I have a cat.
Who you talking to?
You- I see why
you
people don't
need
like
a-
cat people.
You need an old cat. Like the old cat just
Got
minds
it.
his business.
Who's
This
the
little
old
baby,
cat?
because the old cat is wonderful. He just sits there, just
Now,
the old
does he
cat
still walk
yellow?
across? It's something about when I bring out the laptop or a camera, my cat
He
just
walks
walks
across.
There's
Yeah.
nothing you can
the
do.
little cat.
Oh, it's the little
kitten,
one.
the
Got it.
kitten.
Mine's still little.
My
The yellow
cat.
was a visiting cat.
My cat. Yeah, the horny one was the visitor.
Oh, you had this. So you had 3 cats.
We were cat sitting.
Yeah.
We are not getting into this story.
Yeah.
Well,
I
back
get
you
it.
know
I'm a
what?
cat person now.
Back
I'm
when
relating.
we had the horny cat, we didn't have the new cat yet.
Oh, okay.
We just had the one cat, and then we got the other one later. So yes, yeah. Martin was trying to save me from. I guess he was thinking I was like sad or something, just sitting in the dark.
No, the darkness just came
It
upon
just
me.
came upon
I'm
me.
looking at one thing.
Okay, well let's
Yes.
end
Yeah.
on leaving the darkness and go back into the
To the
light.
light,
Catherine, give us a good,
Yes.
just something to put in our minds.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Positive for the
Positive.
week or the new year. We're still saying Happy New Year, right? It's January.
We are.
Give us something.
Yeah, a positive mantra.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's do it.
Yeah.
What if
No
everything works
pressure.
out for us?
Yes.
Like, what if everything
Woo!
works out,
That's the
right?
best.
Let's walk out here.
I love
Yes.
it.
So we come together.
Yes.
What if everything works out?
Yes.
Yes.
My therapist said that to me once.
I love
What
it.
are you worried about? What if everything works out
Yes.
the way you
Middle-aged
want it to?
Yes.
Yes.
Going back to Taylor Swift, I saw
So
a meme
good.
Yes.
that showed her performing in front of two people with a big banner saying Taylor Swift, and then underneath her whole stadium. Did I send it to you guys?
No.
I said, this is us.
You sent it to me.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
Could have been.
And I was like, this is
Yeah.
us, because we're starting slow,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna have
Dope.
the full
stadium.
thing.
Yeah.
Because what if it all works out?
What if
Yes.
it all works out?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Katherine,
Let's check
thank
that
you
out.
so much
Thank
for
you.
joining
You guys are so
us.
fun.
It was a
Thank
pleasure
you.
having you.
being
Please
here.
come
Yes.
back.
Yes.
You guys can find her on Instagram. Think on it 22.
Think on it 222.
Okay.
3 twos.
Yeah, 3 2s. Look for her there. You'll feel uplifted and just positive. And also check us out on YouTube.
Yes.
Don't forget to like, share, and
Watch us.
subscribe. Thank you guys so much for
Thank
riding
you.
with us. We see you. Bye.